Okay, so good afternoon, Nick. Thank you so much for being here with me today over Zoom. So I just want to introduce myself briefly to you. So I'm Sarah Alley. I'm a junior partner at Bratton Gould, and I want to thank you for coming forward with your claim and deciding to work with us. So how are you today?
I'm good, considering.
Okay, thank you. So kind of just before we start, I'd like to confirm with you your contact information. Would that be all right?
Sure.
Okay, great. So you live on 123 Fake Street in Toronto, Ontario.
Yep.
Okay, and your postal code is M6S3J6.
Yep.
Okay, and your phone number 416-555-2638.
That is correct.
Perfect. And your email, gojaysgo@gmail.ca.
Go Jays, go.
Okay, awesome. So again, I want to reiterate to you that I'm so sorry about your situation. So I was briefly informed about it, but we're going to talk about it in more detail. But hopefully we can work together to solve this issue for you. So I'm going to ask you some very detailed questions. I'd like you to answer as honestly as possible. There's no judgment on my side. I'm just trying to figure out what happened to paint the clearest possible picture. Sound good?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to be writing some notes on paper. So if you kind of experience some long pauses, that's just me thinking to make sure that I can help you the best that I can. So I'm going to need you to go into details of the incident, personal details, as well as background information in order to fully understand how best to help you. So to start, in your own words, can you tell me what happened?
All right. So I'm down at the PetSmart. I'm getting some food for my pet and some other things. You know, I go there probably once every 2 weeks. And I'm in there, and this huge dog, I just must have weighed 110 pounds, just a huge thing. It lunged at me. So of course I got my arms full, I got the litter, I've got the food. And when it jumps at me, I of course I kind of react. And then, you know, as I'm reacting, there's stuff everywhere in PetSmart. So I trip over something on the floor and I hit my arm onto this display case and broke my arm. It's just ridiculous how it happened. But he takes off, right? Takes off with his dog. PetSmart people stuck around, which is great, called me an ambulance. And I was able to kind of get to the hospital. Ambulances aren't free. I will remind everybody in this room. And now I can't work. Shelf stocker at Sobeys. They're not giving me shifts. I can't lift anything over my head. I can't lift anything heavy. I only got one good arm. So of course I go to them looking for workers' comp. I live in Toronto. It's worst housing market in probably the world at this point. And I can't pay rent without my job. They're not giving me shifts. And so I asked for workers' compensation. And they're saying, well, it didn't happen on the job, so it's not really their problem. Seriously? So I don't know what's going on there. I need money. Can I sue this guy? I mean, I called PetSmart the other day and I asked them if they knew who this guy was, because, you know, there's accounts and things associated with PetSmart. They know him. They say his name is Jason Cillian, or I don't know. But they won't give me his contact info. They're saying something about privacy, whatever. So I mean, what do? Do I call the police? Like, I don't even really know who this guy is. I mean, realistically, how can you even bring these 110-pound dogs into a store and not expect something to happen? It's ridiculous. That being said, I love pets. I love my cat, and you know, I love dogs. I don't want the dog to get hurt, so I'm a little nervous about, you know, maybe even calling the police. You know what happens to dogs who cause harm to humans. So, what can I do?
Okay. That's quite a story. And again, Nick, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I really empathize with your story. And I want to do, you know, the best that I can to help you in order to make up for this horrible incident. So as for some of the questions that you asked in terms of suing and police, so I think first and foremost, I want to make sure that I get a full, accurate depiction of what happened, and that's going to happen through asking you a series of questions. And then we can go from there to see what our action plan is, okay?
Sounds great.
Okay, so to start, so can you give me the address of the PetSmart if you know it?
It's the one down on Front and Sherborne.
Okay,
I don't know the number, but it's
nope, that's okay. I'll be able to find that, thank you. So about what time did you walk in to this PetSmart?
it would have been after the ball game, so it would have been around 10 o'clock. It was right before they were closing, actually. 9:30, 10. I'm not really sure.
9:30, 10. And what was the date that this happened?
2.5 weeks ago. It was a Tuesday.
2.5 weeks ago. Okay, I'll be able to find that on my calendar. No problem. Okay, so would you say that you were in a rush that evening?
No, like I said, it's kind of like a regular thing. I go every couple of weeks. Sometimes I just get the food. Sometimes, I need to do the litter. Sometimes I need the dry food. So, it's normally after the ball game type thing. I work pretty late, and then like to unwind, and then I kind of do my chores late at night. I do the afternoon shift, so it's kind of how I run my time. And I say right before closing, but I don't mean they were closing. It was just around that time.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, great. So you mentioned that you were carrying, that your arms were full. Can you tell me what you were carrying?
Yeah, so I had a bag of litter in one hand, and I had some, I think I had some dry food and the wet food as well. I'm not 100% sure exactly what I had in my other hand, because I dropped it all, of course, when I got jostled there.
For sure, for sure. And you mentioned that you have a cat, and that's what you were buying for your cat?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I love cats. Just wanted to throw that in
They're
there.
a lot of fun.
Yeah. Okay. So, when this dog lunged at you, did you see the dog beforehand? Did you see the dog and the owner beforehand?
No, this came completely blindsided me. It came out of nowhere.
Okay. Okay. So this dog lunged at you, threw you off balance. You tripped and you fell. So can you describe this dog for me?
I said, huge dog. I didn't get a great look at it because, like I said, I mean, when it lunged at me, I fell. I was kind of concerned about my arm, and they both take off. It was definitely a light colored dog, so I guess it could have been a big lab, or I don't really know.
Okay. No, that's more than sufficient. Do you remember exactly what you tripped over?
I think it was those, those fountains that you can get that constantly circulate so that you don't have to keep giving like static water to your pets. I think they were those just sitting there on display, if I remember correctly. But again, everything's kind of a blur after I was in a lot of pain. My forearm was broken.
Yes, I know. I can't imagine. Okay, so when you fell and injured your arm, you said that you broke your arm. How do you know that you broke your arm?
Well, the ambulance took me to the hospital and they wrapped me up in a cast. They did some x-rays as well.
Okay, we're going to get into the hospital in a little bit, but thank you for answering that. So can you describe to me your pain level in that moment? What was going through your mind?
In that moment, the only thing I was going through my mind was how much my arm hurt. And of course, I felt a little guilty at the same time. I'm trying to look after my pet. And of course, I think now I'm going to be away from them. I wanted to get her the food that I was supposed to feed her. So really, I was just thinking about, my responsibilities. But I mean, the searing pain was just off the charts as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and did the dog bark at you or bite you or do anything other than the initial lunge?
No, I'm not even sure the dog even came in contact with me. There was certainly no biting. But like I said, I just kind of recoiled and then tripped over. So the dog could have pushed me. I can't even be certain.
Did the dog
I didn't even
seem
think about
aggressive to
asking
you?
anybody.
No, that's totally okay.
Again, just came out of nowhere, and because there was no barking, maybe not. But I wasn't paying attention to that necessarily that dog, right? It wasn't even came from the side, so I didn't even see him or her.
No, yeah, no, well, it was completely unexpected.
Exactly.
And would you say that this dog seemed aggressive?
I couldn't say. I mean, I would say a lunging dog is generally aggressive. I don't think it was expecting to, you know, how some dogs jump up on your lap and try to get to your face because they want to talk to you. Well, I mean, I was completely sideways to this dog, so I don't know a whole lot of dogs that play that way.
Okay, thank you, that's helpful. So moving on to talking about this dog's owner named Jason Cillian, correct?
Could be, you know, they told me over the phone. That's what I heard, but it could be something else. Jason Cillian is kind of what I wrote down, but I couldn't spell it. I just using phonetics.
Okay, we can look further into that, so you don't need to worry about that. Um, how do you know that he was the owner of that dog? Did the employees at the PetSmart tell you that, or was it assumed that he was the owner of the dog?
Well, when I called them a couple days later, the next day, whatever it was, I asked them, I said, hey, because I asked for the person who was on shift at the time, the person who helped me with my arm and called the ambulance. And yeah, she told me that it was Jason Cillian. And I mean, she didn't explicitly say he owned the dog, but I mean, I would assume if you've got a dog in a store that you probably own it.
Okay. And about this employee, do you know her name?
No, I didn't catch it. Oh, wait, of course I
No.
did, because I had to ask for her later. It was June.
June. Her name was June. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So do you think you could describe Mr. Cillian for me, just so we can double check that?
I didn't even see the guy. I just saw.
Okay. Just the dog. Okay. So you mentioned that you saw him take off. Did you see him get into a car? Did the dog follow him?
Just running away from me.
Okay. Okay. So you weren't able to see that. Okay.
No.
Um,
Maybe June saw something. I don't know.
okay. How busy was the store at the time? Were there other people besides June who witnessed this incident?
Yeah, there was at least 3 or 4 other people just kind of going about their business. But I mean, when I was waiting for the ambulance, there were some people standing around, but you know, maybe like I said, 3 or 4 people. No idea who they are. So I wasn't in a chatty mood and didn't exactly strike up a conversation.
I completely understand. Okay. So you mentioned that June was the one to kind of help you and called the ambulance for you. So she called 911?
Yes.
Okay, and approximately how long did you wait until the ambulance got there?
I don't think it was that long. I mean, in my state, I wasn't super aware. I 15 minutes maybe. Not really sure.
15 minutes, okay. That's just an estimate, no worries. So I'm hoping that this altercation situation was recorded. So hopefully we're able to kind of get that. And I think that would greatly help us into helping you. So where exactly did this situation happen in the store? Was it closer to the front door, near the register, the back of the store?
So the layout of the store is kind of the cash is in the middle of the back, and then on either side there's a bunch of stuff. The dog and cat stuff is on the left side from when you walk into the front door, and I already had the litter and I was in the food section, so probably in the middle of the left hand side of the store, if that helps.
Yeah, very helpful. Thank you. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about the hospital. So can you tell me in your own words what your hospital visit was like, what they told you? Did you get an x-ray? And you said that it was confirmed that you broke your forearm. So can you tell me a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. I mean, the ambulance took me to the hospital. Paramedics didn't really do much. They just they kind of put me on a gurney as they always do, and give me some aspirin just for, I don't know, whatever reason they did. Got to the hospital. I saw a doctor probably, I don't know, an hour later or so. They weren't exactly speedy, but I mean, they took me to Toronto General, so it's a very busy place. Doctor saw me, got an x-ray, confirmed that I did break my forearm, and then they threw a cast on me, and I was out of there probably about, I don't know, 5 a.m, I think. Took a little while.
Okay.
They gave me some nice meds though, and I was nice and cool by the time I left.
Okay, I'm glad they were able to accommodate you in that way. And did the doctor kind of give you a timeline or time frame as to how long the cast would be on?
I have a follow-up appointment. I don't know. I think it's 8 weeks, but I'd have to look at my calendar, but it's something like that, a couple months. He just wants to check in on it.
Okay. Were you given any pain medication at all?
Not as good as the stuff they gave me in the hospital, but yeah, they gave me some T3s.
T3s, okay. Okay. That was very helpful. Thank you, Nick. So can you tell me what else has been affected in your life because of this injury, besides obviously work and the psychological and distressing situation of it all?
Well, I mean, every time I see a dog now, I'm terrified, right? Especially a big dog. You know, I can't play baseball right now. We're coming up to the playoffs, and now we're down 1 bat, so that's kind of annoying. But it's just not great. I mean, the big thing is the work thing. I can't work, can't play baseball, don't like dogs anymore. It's not great.
Okay, thank you for sharing that, Nick. So just kind of the last few questions. Can you tell me a little bit about your job? How long have you been working there? Your salary, position, that sort of thing?
So I stock shelves at Sobeys. The Sobeys on Dover Court.
Okay.
And I just started there. I've only moved to the city a little while ago. I finally got a job. I've only been there maybe 2 months. I make $17 an hour, which I'm sure you can appreciate isn't a whole lot for living in Toronto, but having no income is obviously much worse. I asked my boss for a different position, but he said, nope, this is what you do and you can't do it, so stay home.
Okay. And you mentioned that it'll be difficult for you to pay rent. Can I ask how much your rent a month is?
So I have a basement apartment I share with a roommate, and I'm paying $850 is my half, plus utilities.
Okay. So what is it that you want out of this situation, Nick? What would be the best outcome for you?
To be able to pay my rent, and you know, at least until I'm able to work again. It doesn't really seem fair that I am out all this money because of someone else's problem.
100%, I agree. So this is quite a bit of information, so I want to thank you again for sharing it with me. I have some research that I need to do, follow up with a few, just follow up on a few things. So I am going to contact you within the next couple of days. Is it easier for me to contact you by email or by phone?
Yeah, you can call me. I'm not doing anything else, right?
Okay. And if I leave you a message, that's okay?
Sure.
Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with me that we haven't covered yet?
No, I don't think so. I think that's pretty much everything.
Okay. So like I said, we will touch base in a couple days to discuss next steps. So yeah, I want to understand the facts of your case and feel confident going forward. And I trust that my assistant has explained to you costs and fees concerning retainer, as well as the fact that this consultation is completely free.
Yes.
Okay, great. So thank you so much again, Nick, for communicating with me. I look forward to working on this case with you and being able to help you the best way that I can.
Thanks for listening.
Of course. Okay, you have a great rest of your day, okay? Thank you. Bye.